Oh, what is up, everybody? Reverse here today, and we're gonna talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth once again. Remember, I did a video maybe yesterday or two? No, it was 2 days ago from now, where I did a video about how Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is doing less than 7 Remake and 16 as well. And how apparently one of these analysts is getting attacked by Sony fanboys because he told the truth that this game is not doing so well. Sony fanboys just can't handle it, that they're now harassing this guy. So this is what this analyst who said about this game in his current state of I guess sharing this information. He says, just remember why I don't publicly comment on sales performance of a game anymore, because people lose their minds if you tell them their favorite franchise didn't sell a bajillion copies. And he's referring to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So he was getting so much harassment, he just said, hey, I won't make this thread, I'm gonna shut off the comment section to make sure these rapid Sony fanboys just don't reply, because they have been harassing this guy consistently, because he tells the truth that these Sony guys do not buy these exclusives like that. This is why the Sony has to expand their base further to PC and different platforms like that. That's why they're having a big push to put their games on PC, because the PlayStation player base isn't enough, because they don't buy exclusives like that. They spend all this money on exclusive content, and their player base is not buying those games. Now, it is funny how the same Sony player base was saying, hey, Xbox gamers don't buy games because of Game Pass. Game Pass is making people not want to buy games on Xbox, but what is the excuse for Sony guys not to buy these PlayStation exclusives? Can someone tell me why they aren't buying these exclusives when they don't have a Game Pass equivalent? Sure, they have PS Plus, but it's not Game Pass. You're not getting games day one, which wouldn't make you want to buy these big games day one. Sony doesn't have that, so why aren't these PlayStation gamers buying these big exclusive games day one? Doesn't make any sense unless they just don't buy games. The same sentiment they said the Xbox users, they're actually perpetuating that same stigma right there. So it is just hilarious to see, but more proof of Sony guys just not being able to take just the news from a messenger. They want to shoot the messenger, so to say, that these games aren't selling well. Because this is back from that previous thread where he says, also not to be that guy, but Rebirth is underperforming sales-wise. Not that sales performance is related to what that guy said. Then someone responds and says, how is it underperforming? Care to explain or share any sources that suggest that beyond what came today that its peak is 2.23 million active players played it? Then he says it's selling about half of what Remake sold in the same time frame. It looks like it'll have a weaker tail prior to PS Plus like release. Then more people say, according to what source? We just don't believe you all of a sudden, but when you push that positive PlayStation news, we believe you just fine. When you say something anti-PlayStation, now you aren't credible anymore. It's just funny how that works out. It's like you push out a positive PlayStation PR, we love you, but when you say something bad about bad on PlayStation, it's like, hey, we don't really trust you like that. You're kind of shaky. It's just funny how that works out like that. Let me see more comments. Nobody has any sources, and Square hasn't released any specific data. Y'all are just speculating at this point. Oh man. Then the constant excuses. We kind of covered this in the last video about these excuses they were making. When in reality, you gamers just don't buy games like that. Like, you don't buy these exclusives like that. Sure, you're gonna buy GTA 6 when that game releases, because who is gonna buy that? That has a big marketing deal right there, so you're gonna buy that game. But these exclusives, especially these Japanese ones, y'all do not buy those games like that. Y'all do not purchase them. Y'all don't support them. It's just sad out here. So I don't know why Sony keeps doing these exclusivity deals with Square Enix. Square Enix is definitely not getting a real big benefit from this, because the PlayStation player base is not really buying these games like that. Look at this clown right here. It says the source comes from your ass. Just so butthurt. They're so butthurt. And that's why we have to turn off the comment section. You have to turn off the comments because, hey, you Sony guys just don't like any critical information about the Sony brand. Then this is another journalist who got some controversy about the whole Dead Space thing, which I guess I can touch on that because that was kind of hilarious. That happened this same week. Apparently, Dead Space was apparently this guy said Dead Space remake was getting a sequel, so a Dead Space Part 2 remake. And then EA says, "Hey, we're not doing that. So we don't know where you got your sources from. Don't believe this guy. We're not doing them. We're not doing a remake because the first one didn't do too well." So kind of hilarious that he got caught up by that, but. Apparently, he says that, hey, I was on this person's podcast on Friday, and people were losing their minds because I repeated what Sony executives have been saying about needing to find growth beyond its current audience. Yeah, Sony needs to go to PC because PlayStation gamers aren't buying exclusives. That's what that pretty much means. It's like, you guys aren't buying exclusives. You claim you do online, you got that big talks, and you buy more exclusives than Xbox, but in reality, you don't. You don't buy these exclusives. The average person who has a PlayStation is playing Fortnite and probably Roblox or Minecraft. That's what they're doing on PlayStation. They aren't playing these exclusives. And we might not just look for Square Enix, because Square Enix is getting a blunt end of this because they keep making these deals with Sony while their games aren't selling. And it was like, you should be putting these games on all platforms to make the game at least get a sequel, but they've been taking a lot of L's with Square Enix lately. Even their big stuff, like this is one of their biggest games, and it's taking an L like this. It's not a good look. So that's what they get for depending on Sony. They should just put it on Xbox and PC. I don't see why they want to keep having these exclusive deals with Sony, but it's not paying off. And then when somebody else says it, they get the Sony fanboys get mad about it. It's just hilarious and sad at the same time. Like, you should be buying these games and stop saying you're buying them and just actually buy them. Apparently Reddit was upset as well that this got leaked out there too, that these people don't buy games. Word of advice, and I generally mean it, never try to go against the Final Fantasy community and say bad stuff about the games. Like, I'm generally not joking about that because it's a toxic minefield. This is extremely common in the community to be defensive attack mode over anything. Gamers, please be normal. Challenge impossible. I have always found it bizarre how many people are unable to fathom that them liking stuff does not mean it's universally beloved. You can like stuff that is not a mainstream hit and sells like Call of Duty. I mean, Final Fantasy 7 is mainstream though. That's like the most mainstream Final Fantasy title there is. So people not buying the most Final Fantasy mainstream title, then it's like, what's going on here? Obviously something is not going right. So, and that's probably all signs lead to the exclusive deals with PlayStation is not the way to go. So we'll see. Maybe Square Enix learns. We would think they will, but I don't know. Maybe they just have this whole like kink for making no sales for these different exclusive games. I don't know. They need to put their stuff on all platforms at this point. Stop having these stupid exclusivity deals with PlayStation. But yeah, it's just hilarious. Once again, now we know why a lot of these journalists don't speak up against PlayStation getting back, having any type of bad news whatsoever, because they get attacked by these rabid fanboys. And it's like, this guy is totally just a messenger. He just analyzes video games, and he says, "Hey, this is why I don't do this, because you guys act like you guys act crazy about it. So if it don't sell a lot of copies," and he's actually truthful about it. So yeah, but I'm gonna conclude it right here. Definitely want to see your thoughts down below about this. That people can't really talk about. They can't report on news. They can't report on news if it has something in a negative light. Definitely want to see your thoughts about that down below. Leave a like if you like this video. And as always, thanks for watching, and peace.